Good morning, everybody. What I have here is a 34 PICT-3 carburetor. The brand is Bocar, B-O-C-A-R. It's a Mexican-made carburetor. I had it on my 71 Carmanguia. It was just a stock 1600. This one worked pretty well for me for several years. I had that car for several years and didn't have too many issues. Towards the end, I started having to take the top off, kind of clean the bowl out a little bit, blow out the jets. But like I said, for the most part, it ran pretty good. It did what it was supposed to do, just for a basic stock engine, stock carburetor. But what I'd like to do today is actually disassemble this. I haven't fully disassembled one before. Like I said, I've taken the top off, kind of cleaned the bowl out, unscrewed a few of the jets and blown those out with some compressed air, but that's really about it. But what I'm going to try to do today is completely disassemble the whole thing. I'd like to get it cleaned up, and I don't have the car anymore, but it never hurts to have an extra carburetor. So I guess let's get started. On the top here you have your 4 main screws that hold the cover on this. I believe there's supposed to be some lock washers on here. I do not have them anymore. Like I said, this has been taken apart many times. So I'm pretty sure these aren't even the stock screws that came with it. There's a 5th one. I always forget about that one. Got one up front here. Or I guess it's on the rear if you're looking at the orientation of the carburetor installed. When we pull it off, we'll set that aside. Here's the old broken gasket that will end up going in the trash. Right here, first thing to get to, the actual float. It has this little bracket that pushes down on the pin to hold it in place. When you screw the top on, everything's held in place by this. So here's the actual float itself. Here's the little pin that goes in it. Lets it move up and down. Set those aside. Okay, honestly, I don't know the best way to dig in. I don't really have good light, but if you look in there, you can see it's definitely corroded, so it could use a good bath. We'll just start on this side. Here's your main jet, or excuse me, the adjuster. Unscrew this all the way. See what we got. A little longer than I thought it was, I guess. There we go. Not too bad in there. I'm going to unscrew this. The only wire that plugs in to the carb. We have a smaller jet over here on the side. Let's see if I can get in there and get a hold of that. we go. That one actually has a little gasket around it. Yep. So I believe as far as this side, that's all I want to take apart right now. Flip it over to the other side. You have a few things going on over here. Let's take out this. I believe this is one of the pilot jets. You can tell I've taken it off quite a few times, so, well, don't know how good you can see. The head's marred up a little bit, but definitely still usable. Alright. We're going to start digging in to this cap. Well, actually, let me look over here. Yeah, we're going to start digging into here. So, pump that's in here. I believe you have a spring. There's a pump. This is the pump cover that we're working on now. What I'm taking off are 4 little screws on the outside of the pump. The pump cover, I should say. When I get this one off, should have a little bit of spring tension. Oh, there we go. Here's the spring I was speaking of. It's actually not that bad. Looks like it's still in pretty good shape. A little bit to be desired inside here. It's definitely corroded. So I'll have to look into that. Probably have to scrape some of that out. Don't know if I can get the light correct on this. Anyway, it's corroded pretty good, so I'm going to have to clean that out. And once I flip it over, inside here is actually the diaphragm, and this is the pump that's dry rotted. I'm going to see if I can find in a kit where I can replace that. I don't know if I have one on hand. We have a second little jet over here, or some sort of adjustment screw. Looks like an adjustment screw. Pull that out. On top, looking at the, I believe it's called an air correction jet. It's hard to tell on this, but there's actually 3 holes. Looks like 2 are the same size. One's a little larger, the one towards the center. Then there's a hole there. There's actually a hole at the very top up towards the threads. Let's set that over there out of the way. I'll have to get a wrench if I want to take that off. Didn't bring one with me. It looks like everything I can take off up until this point. what I'll end up doing is unbolting this so I can pull this rod out. I want to make sure that I get it dipped in some carb cleaner, let it sit for a few days. I heard there's a few alternatives you can do. I'll probably just use your standard carb cleaner. I know it's going to work. So, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. Alright, what we were working on that first part of the video was taking apart the bottom half of this 34 PICT-3 carburetor. It's a Bocar, and didn't have all the wrenches here with me, so what I did, I went and grabbed everything I need. So we'll finish taking this bottom half apart, then we're going to work on taking the top half apart with the vacuum and the choke, this float needle valve. We'll end up disassembling all of that and have it set up here. Okay, went and grabbed a few wrenches like I said, and this, I believe, yeah, this is number 13 over here. Oh, there we go. Little stuck, hasn't been off and probably ever. I know I never took it off. I've had this carburetor for over 20 years now, so let's see what we got. Is this supposed to come off? Does it come off? I don't know. Looks like it should. There we go. So there's that. This side right here. Just to show everybody, I know it's a little far away. This is what I'm taking off. This is what it attaches to your accelerator cable. Give it the gas. Looks like it's the same setup pretty much on both sides. Has this knurled washer. You can't really see it, but it's got a little bit of teeth, so it bites and stays. Like I said, this has never been off in the time that I've had it, so it feels like it's getting a little more loose. It's definitely a tight fit. Not sure it's really don't want to damage it. Doesn't necessarily have to come off. I'm just trying to see if I can take everything possible before I dip it. Well, I'm going to leave that on. I'll fight with it off camera. So, set that over there. Here's the top half where you have your choke and your vacuum over here. There's, when I take that off, there's going to be a diaphragm in there. I think a small little spring, if I remember correctly. So let's see here. I had a carburetor rebuild kit somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig through some stuff and see what I can find. I know they're relatively inexpensive, so if need be, I'll just go pick up another one. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. That's the sound I was looking for. Little baby spring. Here's the diaphragm. I believe there's a rod attached. Yes. So we can set that aside. There's definitely more corrosion in there. You can kind of see it. That's what happens when they sit around. Alright, let's jump into the choke. It looks like these are these little white spacers, so I'm gonna have to make sure I don't lose those. Let me move these tools out of the way. Feels like that whole top part is coming off. Alright, good. It all stayed together. It works out. Just hoping this would pop right off. Really don't want to get out a hammer for that one. I believe some sort of a little plastic cap in there. My research holds up. It does feel a little loose, but to be honest, I don't know how that comes off. I guess that's something I'm going to have to check out. I don't think I have the proper size for that. Looks like maybe a 10 or 11. Let me see what I got here in my stash. Here's number 10. Yep. That's it. That came off easy. That was uneventful. Little arm. That doesn't look to be coming off. Alright, let's see what we can do about taking off this float needle valve. Should be some sort of gasket in there, you would think. Yep, there it is. All right. There is a little bit of corrosion, but for the most part it looks pretty clean in there. Happy about that. Alright, well, that is the disassembly of a 34 PICT-3. Got a lot of parts right here. Need to see what I need to do about getting them all cleaned up, put it back together, get some of the screws adjusted correctly. I know there's kind of a standard way to set the screws, and then you just kind of idle off that. Once you get it finally mounted to an engine, you do all your adjustments from there. And so that's what I'm going to do. Got to get it clean first. So I appreciate everybody watching. Have a great day.